Okay, you should be good to go. All right, hopefully people can hear us. This is Chris Graham. I am the co-founder and CEO of Chilling. And this is our Q&A for February 23rd, 2023. It's 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, so happy to have everybody here and ready to get started. So if you can hear me, audio's echoing. Okay, I'm not sure how to fix that. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, 1 sec. Let's see if we can fix that.
Is this any better? Can hear better now, or is it still echoing? If anybody's in the chat, can just let me know if it's still echoing if you can hear now. Okay, good. All right, and then make sure that Dan is on. So this is our first time using YouTube to go live, so we are learning. Okay. And let's see. All right, we have a few questions that folks had sent us ahead of time. But before we get to that, if anybody that's in the chat wants to start asking questions, really wanted to give everybody just the opportunity to get to know what we're doing a little better as the campaign on Republic is coming to an end, and as we're getting really close to launching Chilling 2.0 in the next few weeks, wanted to just have the chance to connect with everybody that's been following us along this journey, along this path, and provide that sort of insight and feedback. So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll go ahead and open the floor to any questions you might have. So we're watching the chat, so ask away. And all right, will Chilling 2.0 be a separate app, or will it be a major update to the existing app? Great question. So it will be a completely new app. So everything will be completely rebuilt from the ground up. However, as an end user, you're not really going to see that. Once it's released, it will just replace the existing app in the Google Play or Apple App Store, as well as there also being access to a website version of Chilling that is going to be released alongside Chilling 2.0. So as an end user, you're still going to have the same login information, same user ID, and then you're just going to have, it's just going to be essentially like a major update for you, but it will be on the back end a completely new platform. what other questions we have out there. Yeah, so as of right now, any existing subscribers are going to be grandfathered into the old pricing, so they're not going to see an increase um, on their end. Now, whether it stays like that forever is, I can't make any guarantees, but we have no initial plans to change anything for current subscribers. And of course, we're also adding a free tier for users who are okay with listening to ads and has more limited functionality as well. But no immediate changes to the subscription or the cost for any current subscribers. Okay. Then when it comes to those who didn't get a chance to invest, is subscribing still the best way to support Chilling? Yeah, the best way to support Chilling is outside of the investment campaign is to subscribe and share Chilling with people that you know that might be interested. That's the best way to support Chilling outside of the campaign. Yep. So for those who invested, when will the digital perks such as a Discord server be rolled out? So the Discord server is up and running. There are limitations until the campaign is closed of how we can communicate with the investors based off Republic's guidelines. So once the campaign is closed, invites to that will go out, and we'll be able to communicate more directly with you via Discord and via direct email messaging at that point. And then other perks will also be coming shortly after the campaign closes as well. So if you're getting beta access, there's going to be a form that we send out so to give you access to that, and beta access is going to be rolled out here in the next couple of weeks for 2.0. And then if you get any physical perks, it's just a matter of us sending those forms out as well to get people's sizes and addresses to be able to mail that stuff out. Any other questions along those lines? Yes, so community-driven content is going to be very key for Chilling 2.0, both for the existing audio and then the video content. So let me kind of read the question out loud. So the question was, with the addition of films along with the audio in 2.0, is there still the community-driven content coming out from those sections? So yes, so with audio, nothing is changing in terms of the way that we do content. We're still going to be very focused on independent voices, independent authors, and telling their stories. And then when it comes to video, very much the same thing. So independent screenwriters, directors who already have projects in mind, working with us to get their concepts and ideas brought to life. Whether that's just giving them the platform to host the short films or features that they've already created, or us helping them produce them. And then we even have the idea of taking some of the short stories that we've done that have performed well from an audio standpoint, working with the authors that wrote those short stories and figuring out ways to adapt those to the screen, whether that's in the form of a short film, a series, or a feature-length film. Does that hope that answers the question. One of the really unique things that we're doing with Chilling 2.0 when it comes to creators is something we shared with some of our narrators just yesterday. Is that all creators are getting their own profile and page within Chilling. So what that means is, as a creator on any content that you have that you've been a part of, either as a author or as a narrator, it'll have you listed there in the credits, and then you click into that user or that profile from the creator, and it'll bring you to that creator's page. And on that creator's page, it's going to have a couple of things. One, it's going to have all the content that you as a creator have helped produce, whether that's individual stories or series, etc. It's also going to have kind of your bio and links to any of the other kind of social accounts that you might have. So whether you have your own Reddit account, your own website, your Instagram, your Twitter, etc., that'll all be there so people can follow you there. People can follow your account, and as you add new content or as new content comes and it's added for you, they'll get notified when that content comes out. So a new story comes out from that you wrote or that you narrated, that your followers will be automatically notified for that. And then you'll also have the ability to interact directly with your audience in the form of discussion boards that you'll be able to manage directly from the app as a creator. So that's very something we're very excited about. All right, next question that popped up along here. I know that currently the main way that Chilling finds creators and resources through listener request, but in the future, Chilling.io will be other ways to find new readers, such as application process, uploading new voice reel, etc. Yes, so we are looking to expand the ways that we find creators, and adding the free tier and the ad support tier is actually a big way that we're going to be able to do that and help support that. But yes, we are going to be adding voices outside of the traditional path that we've taken, which has been the YouTube narrators that have been requested by users. We think there's a lot of talent out there, a lot of raw talent that that are great storytellers, and we want to bring those voices onto the platform as well. Kind of a feature. Next question here is kind of a feature question. But after closing the app and going back, it's like opening it for the first time. Will there be a Remember Me feature where we picked it where we left off? Yes. So that is an actually major new update that we have with Chilling 2.0. And so this is a feature we've already tested and is ready to go. So Chilling 2.0 is about 98% of the way done. We're just kind of fine tuning a few things. So one of the features that we have is a continue listening feature. So very much like Netflix or other kind of streaming platforms, you're going to see the stories that you started to listen to listed at the top, and you'll be able to click right back into those stories, pick up where you left off in the story, and it'll all be there. And so yes, and then we'll also have like a recent history section as well. But yes, we have that continue listening functionality that's coming. And then question here: when it comes to films, are there ones you plan to show that are self-financed, or does Chilling have a role in helping those films get made? So the answer to that question is both. So when it comes to the video portion of Chilling, we're finding the content there in a couple of different ways. First way is that we've already partnered with a couple of distributors for existing films. So films like the Hell House franchise will be on Chilling. And so we partner with a couple different outlets there that we're going to have a pretty good library of existing films. We're also working directly with independent directors who have created their own short films and putting those existing short films on Chilling. And then the goal is to have Chilling finance and produce our own Chilling originals as well. So we have a couple that we're already producing. There's two in the works. One of them's in post-production. It's actually a sequel to a film that was called Guest. That came out in 2020. A short film called Guest that was received very, very well. This is called Guest 2. You can see the original Guest on YouTube. Has over 9 million views. It was a very popular film. It was really, really well done. So Guest 2 is currently in post-production. So we have that one filmed. The second one is a film called Gale, a short film called Gale, and this one we're really excited about as well. The IP is all around the Wizard of Oz, and so that is going into production and starting shooting here in the next couple of weeks. So we're really excited about that short film as well, and then so the goal is for us to continue to be able to produce, primarily short films, but to begin with, and then kind of roll into features within the next year and producing a few as we go along. So then Interscare Sleep off topic, but question for the founder: has App Being Scared already pre-purchased his theater tickets for Scream 6? Dane, have you already got your tickets for Scream 6? we heard that. All right. All right. Okay. Next, go to the next question. So with 2.0, do we expect new kinds of audios based on more prolific horror fiction, or more of the same in terms of public domain stories along with content generated tales? Okay, that's a great question. So yeah, we are going to have new kinds of audio content. We are going to start focusing and financing more uh, original stories. So actually commissioning some more original stories. We've done a few of that. We've dabbled in it. We're going to do more of that. We are also going to start producing full length audio novels. We actually have about 6 audio novels that we have produced. A little more than 6, a little over half a dozen audio novels that we've actually produced, that are contemporary in nature. So we work directly with the authors that have wrote those novels, and those are going on Chilling, as some of them as exclusives. We're also working with in negotiations with a few publishers of audiobooks to bring existing audio novels onto Chilling. And then finally, we are exploring producing audio dramas. So if you've been on Chilling, the current version of the platform, you likely know that we have some classic radio programs on Chilling, that are told in an audio drama, audio play kind of format. We're going to be producing some of our own audio plays. So really excited about that as well. And it's going to bring a whole new dimension to the platform from an audio standpoint. As excited as we are for bringing video content onto Chilling, we are still very heavily invested in audio and believe that is a major part of Chilling's future. So hopefully that answers that question. Dane, I know you're in the chat, so feel free to jump in and answer these questions in text while you're here. All right. Well, one of the questions that we got ahead of time was kind of was more about what started Chilling, with kind of what the inspiration for Chilling was, and Dane's in the chat, and he's the one that's better able to answer this, but I'll give it my best shot. So the way that Chilling came about was because of Dane and being scared in his YouTube channel, and wanting to give the audience a more customizable way to listen to the content that he was creating. He found that YouTube was a little bit limiting in what he was able to produce and what he was able to put out there for his listeners. And so he actually called me one night. It was fairly late my time. I'm here on the East Coast. He's on the West Coast, and we've known each other for years. And I work in tech. And he said, "I have this idea. I want to build an app for scary stories for my audience, for them to listen to stuff in a more customized way." And I was half asleep. Said, "Okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, nobody's gonna really want to do that, listen to that, but sure, why not?" And then next couple days, I kind of did a little more research. And I was like, I think Dane might be onto something here. Actually, he might actually have a good idea. And so we were working together, and we decided, like, let's do this. Let's just go and build this app. Let's build this platform, and that's what we did. And we put out the MVP. And initially, the idea was, it was just going to be Dane on Chilling because it was for his audience. And then we saw the opportunity to bring other narrators on, so we brought on folks like Swamp Dweller and Your Maker and Let's Read, and Mr. Creepypasta, etc. To start creating a real community. And as time went on, we just saw more and more opportunity to expand and grow what we were doing to continue to serve the horror community and really make a change. So that's kind of how this whole thing came to be. Dane, if I missed anything or left anything out of that explanation of where we came from and the inspiration, feel free to put it in the chat. All right. Are there any plans for the future Are there any plans for future collaborations like the one Chilling did with Netflix for the Pale Blue Eyes? I think that's the best answer that Dane just put in there. There's no future collaborations are currently planned, but the door is always open to that. Um, yeah, that was a unique opportunity that we had with Netflix, and um, yeah, I don't know exactly what that the future of the collaborations from like a Netflix standpoint would be. I see more collaborations in terms of working with the authors and the um, publishers that we have, and the original content creators, to making sure that that content is being produced and getting heard. Um, but yeah, the doors are always open for future collaborations. Any plans to expand Chilling outside of audio and films? Um, there's nothing official. No official plan. We've talked about um, doing things like something in like a VR experience, um, and potentially like small game development type stuff. But that takes us so far outside of where we are today. I would say that the expansion of Chilling outside of kind of what we share with Chilling 2.0 with the new apps, new version of the app for iOS and Android, the new website version, the addition of video, would be the expansion into smart devices. So being able to download Chilling for your Samsung Smart TV, or downloading the application on Roku or Amazon Fire. Um, that's probably the next big step. In addition to that is the expansion outside of horror. So we see very much the ability to kind of take the Chilling model and apply it to other genres, so like fantasy and so use like fantasy, um, sci-fi, those kind of um, things. Uh, and let's see, and then all work and no play asks, will any of the current stories yeah, so will any of the current stories and series on Chilling be turned into films or shorts potentially? Um, like the answer to that is I hope so. So there are a handful of stories uh, that um, that we've produced and put on Chilling over the last year or so that we think would make fantastic stories. Um, there's this one story in particular that I think that we had narrated on launch. I think Dane, I think you narrated the story. I think you know the one I'm talking about. Um, and like that one in particular, from like the day that we read the story, it's been one of our favorite stories, and been something like, say, man, we really could do like a whole feature film around this idea and this concept. But there's a lot of stories like that. There's a lot of series like that. So we have one. We have a couple different authors that have contributed series to Chilling, multiple series, and there's so much potential there to develop something into a short film or series. It's something that we would have to work and come to an agreement with the author that created that content to make sure that we um, do justice by them. Yep, that's it. The Tower. The Tower was a great short story that we narrated when we first released Chilling. So if you haven't listened to that short story on Chilling, I recommend going and listen. It's still to this day probably one of like my top 3 stories on Chilling after having almost 1,500 stories on the platform. Um, so will there be a process on what to add in the film section of Chilling 2.0? I'm not sure I understand what you mean by will there be a process on what to add in the film section of Chilling 2.0. Um, could you maybe um, give a little bit more specific, I guess, on the question? Awesome. And will the app go beyond mobile phones, i.e., smart TV, internet browser, etc.? Yes. So internet browser is coming at the same time as Chilling 2.0's initial release here in a couple of weeks. So we already have a website that's built out. You're going to be able to do that with once videos added, the ability to kind of do the casting onto TVs. Within this next year, we're also going to create ports to smart devices like Samsung Smart TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV, as much as possible. And will there be some form of curation in terms of choosing what to show? Yeah, absolutely. So we've we are reviewing and putting a process in place on how to review everything. In terms of quality, yeah. So we're not just it's not going to be what Chilling's not going to be is another YouTube where it's just a free for all and anybody can just upload whatever content they want, right? So we want to make sure that we're kind of the middle ground between like that just raw 100% user generated user control content, and then on the other hand something like a Netflix or a Hulu or like a Hollywood type streaming service even. And so we're going to vet that there is good quality in terms of the cinematography, the audio quality of the video. We don't want it to look like it's it's a high school theater project, right? We want to make sure that it is that the production quality is where it needs to be for us to validate it being on, that the acting is professional, and so we're gonna vet all that out. But we do want to make sure there's a variety of content, so we're not necessarily going to say well, I didn't personally like that film, or I didn't like that story, so we're not going to put it on, because there's going to be people have different tastes, different flavors, and so we're going to want to make sure that we have that variety as much as possible. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, we're it's just at about 10:30 Eastern. But okay, also in regards to films, would you be looking into international submissions, or would that be too much to undertake due to logistical reasons? From a logistical standpoint, there's no issue with that. We have the two films that we're producing are technically international. They're being produced in the UK. I would say that we do want to make sure that right now we're focused on the English language, right? So we're not really focused on bringing films from Latin America or from non-English speaking countries into the fold at this point. But in the future, as we grow and expand, we would love to reach other regions, other languages. Hopefully that answers the question. All right. Well, I know we got started a little bit late, so we'll give it a couple more minutes for any kind of last minute questions that might be out there, and then we'll start to wrap up. So, and last call for questions. Okay. Are there any plans to have multiple team members telling a story, like Being Scared featuring Swamp Dweller and Mr. Creepypasta? Yes, there are. So I mentioned earlier that we're looking at doing audio dramas. So those audio dramas are going to be an ensemble cast. So there would be multiple voices, multiple speaking roles. It takes a little bit more to produce that kind of content. But yeah, that is absolutely something we're looking to do. And then with films coming to Chilling, do you plan on trying to compete in that space with something like Shudder, i.e. purchasing rights to major movies, or is it mainly going to be focused on user-generated? Yes, so yeah, we do plan to compete directly with Shudder. We think we can. We think that we have something unique that they don't have, um, and we do plan to compete directly with Shutter. So I don't think there's no secret about that for us. And we actually have conversations scheduled within this next few days, even with film distributors, about bringing exclusive full length feature films to Chilling that would not be available anywhere else. And these are distributors that actually work with Shutter as well. And so we've been talking to a lot of people we've been talking to a lot of people in the industry, the entertainment industry, and they are excited about Chilling as well. They're excited about the way that we're presenting the content, the way that we're presenting creators' voices, and the focus that we have on community. Okay, last question. Is the process of the app growing be a slow and steady one? To avoid traffic. Okay, so I guess let me kind of rephrase the question. So it sounds like you're asking, our plans on growth. How do we plan on managing the growth, right? So we don't want to grow it too fast, right? So we're trying to be very purposeful about it. Having come from the tech world, there's a very big, a lot of startups and a lot of companies will take on a lot of investor money and focus on growth at the expense of profitability. One of the things that we're very proud of is that we were able to make Chilling profitable, not drastically profitable, but we were able to break even and stay break even very early on. And we don't want to take on debt. We don't want to run the negative. We want to make sure that we're able to be a sustaining. We want to make sure that we're able to sustain our growth organically as much as possible. We're taking on a little bit of investor resources right now so we can build out Chilling 2.0 and build these things. And but we're not planning on over focusing on that at the expense of what's good for the business and what's good for the audience. We think our growth is going to increase in speed. So we have plans to start doing these short films, start doing feature films, and continue to expand. One of the biggest things that we have that's going to allow us to do that is adding that free tier. Is adding that free tier that's supported by ads. So that in and of itself is probably one of the biggest, going to have the biggest impact to Chilling, one of the biggest changes we're making as an organization. So when Dane first came to me and when we first put Chilling together, we discussed it. We wanted it to be a premium experience for users. So because of that, we said we only want to be a subscription-based platform. And what we learned in doing that was, one, it was important for us to do that right away, to be subscription only, because it allowed us to validate the idea that people were willing to pay to consume this kind of content in a premium way. But what we also learned was that there's a vast amount of people out there that want to consume this content outside of something like YouTube, but either don't want to or can't manage subscription, which is understandable because there's a lot of subscription-based streaming services out there. And so we made the decision to pivot with Chilling 2.0 and create a hybrid model that allowed that freemium version. And our modeling and initial analysis project that by the end of this year, by the end of 2023, the ad revenue and the freemium model is going to account for more than 80% of all of Chilling revenue, which will allow, and that revenue is going to allow us to grow. It's going to allow us to reinvest in our creators, into our community, and into the platform in a responsible way. So we're very excited about that. Hopefully that answers that question. It may have been a little bit long-winded, but if there are no other questions, I think that was actually a great question to end and wrap up on. So I want to thank everybody that came, joined the live stream, and everybody that supported us, whether you've been an investor, whether you've been a subscriber, whether you've just been sharing our posts on Twitter and Instagram, whatever it is. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the faith that you've had in Chilling. This community has been amazing, and we could be more excited to have everybody on board with us as we push and continue to take those next steps. But everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your time, and stay tuned, because in just a few short weeks, beta access will be rolling out for Chilling 2.0, and hopefully within a month or so, it will be generally available, and big things are happening. So thank you.